Record.
Okay, start now.
Tak ada freeze tu jangan.
Start again.
Hello, teacher. We are from Group 7, and we are going to present our storyboard now. Okay, so first of all, it will start off with me, Chan Jian Yang, to present my story. Next off, we'll go to Yoon Kate's storyboard. Then, after that, we'll reach to Terence. Fourth, we'll go to Eun Kai-wen. Then, lastly, we'll go to Teo Zahan's story. So let's start off with mine. Okay, so here we can look at the top left corner. This visualization shows the products being categorized into 3 categories, which is the furniture category, office supplies category, and technology category. From this visualization, we can conclude that the office supplies is having the most number of orders out of all the 3 categories, with almost 2,000 orders since 2018. So we can also look at the sales. We can see that the Western region of the technology category is having the most sales out of all the categories and also the regions. Lastly, we can see that the office supplies Western region have the most number of orders compared to other regions as well. So move on to the top right corner. Here we are able to see the customers that are buying the office supplies, which is also the most bought category from the top right visualization. And then the average number of order ID by these customers are also shown here, which is 10.56. Then all the details, which is over 10 orders, are being shown, their customer ID and also the product count. On the average, each customer will buy 2 products from the office supplies in each order. So lastly, we look at the bottom graph. Here we can see the sales of the office supplies and also the count of product being bought in office supplies. So that's all from me. I will move on to the next story.
I'm Yoon Kate. I'll be talking about my storyboard. So first we will see the storyboard contains 2, 1 map and 1 graph. The figure shows that the total sales of different category in different segments and regions. From the map, we can observe that there are 4 different colors to represent the 4 different regions. In each segment, the total sales of different category are displayed with accurate figures and categories of product are mentioned. In this case, we can make an analysis of which category is more usable by the individuals in United States. Besides that, we can see that office supplies have the highest sales in all 4 regions and technology has the lowest figure in total sales. Now we will move to the graph below. From the horizontal graph, we can see that different segments have different total sales. From achieve the highest number of total sales in all 4 regions. Besides that, we can see that home office users in all regions have the lowest figures of total sales throughout 4 years. In this case, we can find out the reason for the low figures of sales for home office user and try to increase their sales. Lastly, we can see that in year 2017 and 2018, the total sales decreased slightly for corporate and home office user. That's all for my story. I will pass it to Terence.
Okay, I'm Terence. Now I'll talk about this story. For this story have 3 graphs and from the top, which is the map, you can see the total sales of each state and based on the regions. Then the left bottom, which is the total sales of each state. Sorry, can move down. We can see the total sales of each state, and the sales can be seen by the colors. If it is near the blue, then it is very high sales, and if it is near red, then it is low sales. We can see that there are 2 states that is having very high sales and others are basically low average sales. And the average sales is 40% 46,929.32, sorry. Then move the last graph, which is the total sales of each region. This graph shows the sales of all the regions. We can there is average line, that meaning the average sales, which is 563,152. And then we can see that only 2 regions is over the average sales, which is East and West. Other 2, the Central and South, is under the average sales. That is all for my story. I'll pass to Kevin to talk about next story.
Okay, thank you, Terence. So now I will talk about the office supply sales trend based on this story. On the top graph shows that the sales trend of office supplies based on different years from 2015 to 2018 with respect to their months. From this graph, we can view the maximum and minimum sales of each month from different years. The blue line indicates the actual data, while the orange line indicates the forecast data. The sales trends of the office supplies indicate the lowest maximum sales during 2016 with a number of 31,178, while achieving the highest maximum sales after that year. While in the minimum sales for each year is growing from 1,072 in 2015 to a number of 7,378 in 2018. As for the forecast of the office supply sales trend, it is expected to achieve a minimum sales of 11,625 and a maximum sales of 32,176. On the bottom left, there are 2 graphs. The top 5 office supplies sum sales and in US and top 5 office supplies average sales in US. Both of the graphs are just showing the top 5 sales trends for the office supplies category. The top 3 of the 5 states are shown in orange color to differentiate them between the 5. The office supply sum sales for the top 3 country has a minimum sales of around 42,500, where the country are California, New York, and Texas. While office supplies average sales for top 3 country has a minimum average sales around 280, where the countries are Minnesota, Nevada, and Missouri. Both of the graphs can be used as a filter to identify the sales trend over the years on the top graph, and also the sales trend based on the different state in the US on the bottom right. So move on to the bottom right. The graph indicates the sum sales, which is the colors, and average sales, which is the circles, based on the state in US. There are 3 countries that are modified on our own, which is the Florida, Maryland, and Montana, with only the circles, since the system could not detect the location. In sum sales, we can compare with the graph on the top bottom left, top 5 office supplies sales in US, where the most office supplies sales country is California in the dark blue color, with a number of sales about 140,000. Second would be New York in light blue color, with a number of sales around 90,000, and third is Texas in orange color, with a number of sales around 42,500. While in average sales, we can see the bigger circles indicate the larger number of average office supply sales. The top 3 countries for the average sales are Minnesota, Nevada, Missouri, with at least 280 average sales over the year. And now I will pass it to Jahan for the last story.
Thank you, Kevin. Now I will be presenting about my storyboard. First, Based on the dashboard, my dashboard contains the total sales of product in categorical and subcategorical based on the years and months. In the dashboard, it contains 3 graphs in total. The 3 graphs in the dashboard are total sales against categorical and subcategorical based on years, while the second is total sales against top 15 products in categorical, and the final is the totals of sales by month. The top graph is a horizontal bar graph. The color in the horizontal graph shows the values of the total sales, where the darker the color is, the higher the result of the total sales, and lighter the color is, the lower the result of the total sales. As we can see from the graph, the amount of total sales in the technology category is greater compared to the rest of the category. This shows that more people are interested in spending money on purchasing technology products. At the bottom left, it shows the total sales against the top 15 products based in category. The difference in color shows the different category of each bar. Based on the graph, we can see that each category has 5 products out of the 15 products. We could also see that the result of the product in technology is greater compared to all the products, while the result for the product in furniture is lower. Based on the graph, we can see that the more people are interested in technology compared to other categories, where the result have reached 60K of total sales for one of the technology category. Last and final, in the bottom right, we can see it shows the total sales by months. From the visualization, we can conclude that the sales on monthly basis has increased exponentially. Firstly, from the month of January, we can see it's slowly decreasing, while in the February it's skyrocket to in the March, while in March to April it decreased now. Then it remained constant from April to August. August to September it increased, while September to October it decreased. October to November it increased, and in December it slightly increases. That's all for my presentation on my storyboard. Thank you for listening.